Hello, everybody. I am Michael Whitehouse, the founder and chairman of Conference 21, and this is the weekly round table for Conference 21. I have two great guests today that I'm about to share with you. So we do this every Tuesday at 7, and we also do it every Friday at 2. There are two weekly roundtables. I guess it makes it the bi-weekly roundtable. Of course, this is all part of Conference 21, which is an event that now has 47 speakers coming up in May. Let me bring up the right thing here. There we go. May 21st to 23rd, conference21.com. It is only $21 for your ticket. That's like 50 cents per speaker. You get a whole bunch of networking. You get to see all the speakers. And even better, you're going to get the recordings of all the speakers in May and all the speakers, almost all the speakers, most speakers from February. So that's like 70 hours of content for $21. Pretty good deal. So let's introduce our guests. Our guests today. Come on. There we go. There's our guests. Our guests today are Clifton, Pettyjohn, and Angelus Perez. Angelus is coming back for the 5th time on the show. We're just looking that up. He is a regular, and Clifton is this is his first, but hopefully not last time on the round table.
Yes.
So we'll start with Clifton. Clifton, tell us a little bit about yourself and what makes you awesome.
Yes. First, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited to be here on tonight. My name is Clifton Pettyjohn, and what makes me awesome is that I genuinely love being who I am. So because I love being who I am, I show up as who I am every opportunity that is presented before me. So that's what makes me awesome.
Fantastic. And I was just thinking, so as I put these shows together, it is entirely the first 3 Conference 21 speakers who sign up for that time block. I put them in there, and the magic happens. I could not intentionally make these matchups as well as I do. And I was thinking as I look at your weird shirt, and I'll say about Angelus having shared it was your wedding photos, right?
Yes.
With the which I'm guessing like some sort of 16th century.
French
wow.
masquerade ball, French masquerade ball, 18th century.
Okay.
And I have all themed with Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Love it.
Fantastic stuff. And I saw the what is it? Stormtrooper? No, RoboCop. The full RoboCop costume.
And the Cylon. That's
yes.
I'm actually building the Cylon for Make-A-Wish right now. So
okay, yeah, so some really cool stuff. So we got a group of weird people. Of course, I spent 25 years running sci-fi conventions before I decided to run a virtual business or virtual Conference 21, whatever Conference 21 is. It's awesome, whatever it is. That's why I have the round tables. You can see some people. So, Angelus, tell us why you are awesome.
I'm awesome because I'm good at what I do. And I enjoy getting in front of people to help share exactly what I've been doing, or at least my wife and I have been doing for some 25 years. So we are ecstatic when we can support, platforms like Conference 21 or any other organization, because it's all about not just sharing, but making relationships, connections. I've already received so much information from just being part of Conference 21. I think I've saved myself 10 grand in just the research and buying equipment and software. So kudos to Conference 21.
Yes. Yeah, I've definitely had a very similar experience as well, that I have that I've had the benefit of being surrounded by so many great people and learning so much from them, that I keep saying I am not the same person that I was 6 months ago when I first started running this conference. And I was actually going to share, if you don't mind, Angelus, that's you, right?
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed.
Oh,
I didn't expect that.
That's okay. This is why you're awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't actually expect it to pop up. I thought it was going to show in a previous screen, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was a nice wedding. Since I made all the costumes and props myself, I was able to create. The budget was $65,000. I did it for $20,000. I didn't want to go, and that's an average wedding. So but believe it or not, my suit, the riding suit, the red one, the Phantom of the Opera, cost more than the bride's dress. So
that is sometimes the way.
Wow.
But that is some impressive stuff. Yeah. So sorry to surprise you with that. I tried
I got caught off guard with that one.
But yeah, StreamYard got so excited to see it. It's like, oh, I got to put it right on the screen. I put it right there. I don't need to preview that at all. But yeah, if you look far enough back in my pictures, you can find the photos from my Rocky Horror Picture Show days.
I will look forward to that.
When I played Janet. So that is on my Facebook somewhere. It's one of those things where I could look at it and be like, well, what if people find that picture and will they think I'm professional and will someone judge me for it? But then like that's what I did. That's who I am, really. I mean, I haven't done Rocky in years, but given the chance, if someone would call me up and be like, hey, we need someone to jump in and play any role, I'd be like, okay. Right. Cool, I'm on my way.
I dressed up as a woman once, and thank goodness no pictures have survived. So it's for the art. That's all it is.
Yep. But yeah, that's the thing. It's about embracing the weird there. So
that's it.
All right. So the first topic that we have, the topic Clifton brought us is a safe space is the foundation for transformative conversations. So lead us off with this conversation, Clifton.
All right, I'm excited. As you said, this is my first time, and I'm truly excited to be with each and every one of you. Good evening, good evening, good evening, my amazing, awesome, brilliant, intelligent world changers. My name is Clifton Pettyjohn, and I teach creators how to transform their lives through embracing the entirety of their best selves. And we're going to revisit that best self in a minute. I want to do what I do before I talk to anybody. And I know I'm not going to be long, but I want to do this very quickly. I want to do our breathing exercises. If you can with me, take a deep breath in, hold it, breathe out. One more time, breathe in, hold it, breathe out. Now, here's why I do those exercises. Because number one, if there is breath remaining in your body and you were able to complete that exercise, that means that there is purpose yet remaining inside of you. Then it also means that you have taken all of the energy that you have devoted to living in your past, all of the energy you have devoted to living in the possibilities of your future, you have merged them with the energy of now. And because those forces have come together and become you, now you are manifesting your best self, not a self that's measured against any other manifestation of who you are, but your best self is always present with you. All right. So let's go. We're going to dive right into the topic. We're going to talk tonight very briefly about one of my core values. One of my core values is that I am always a safe space for my clients, for students, for family members, for friends, for anybody that is involved in my life. And you might say, well, why is that even important? Because I believe that being a safe space is the foundation for uncomfortable yet transformative conversations. Uncomfortable but yet transforming conversations. I believe that we all face situations in our life where we need to be able to have those uncomfortable conversations. But the reality is, it's not always easy to find safe spaces. Let's look at the definitions of the word safe space. All right, we're going to look at the definition of it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why it is important. But to be honest with you, the definition tells exactly why it's important, and then I might share with you my safe space and how I got to the space where this became such a core value for me. As a coach, people confide a lot in me. And as a coach, I realize that sometimes that people aren't experiencing success in life, in business, and whatever it is they're attempting to do because they haven't had that conversation yet. They haven't had that uncomfortable conversation yet because they don't feel safe enough to have it. Now, here's what a safe space does. It is an environment in which a person or category of people can feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional, spiritual, or physical harm. That explains exactly why it's important right there. That sums it up, especially the part where it says, where they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional, spiritual, and physical harm. Why is that important? Because when we are exposed to that, or if we feel threatened by any of that, it is human nature for us to either cringe up or back away. And when we back away, we never get to the space to have those uncomfortable conversations. And I'm telling you, one thing I'm learning even more in business, how important it is to have those uncomfortable conversations. Because sometimes in business, we can focus so much on the process, the day-to-day operations of the business, that we forget the focus on the most important piece of the puzzle of our lives. And that's building ourselves and showing up as ourselves and honoring exactly who we are and embracing the totality of who we are. Because sometimes it's not comfortable to embrace the totality of who we are. Now, foundation is the lowest load-bearing part of a building. Sometimes it's even underground. Why is foundation important? Because foundation needs to be able to support everything that's built upon it. If your foundation isn't strong, then everything that you attempt to build on top of it, eventually it's going to either shift or it's going to crumble. And we want to make sure that you as a business owner, you as an entrepreneur, you as the amazing, awesome self that you are, is that you are building yourself up enough to be able to stand. So we're talking about the foundation of it. All right. So let's keep going. It provides structures or the stability from ground level. Many times in our business, as I said, I was talking about, how if you can trace, today I did a talk and I was talking about this. If you find yourself in a space in your business where you feel some things are out of line, or you feel like it's just not going the way that I desire for it to go, my numbers are dropping and I'm not as effective as I used to be, many times you can trace those issues back to things going on with yourself. There's a unbalance there within yourself. That's why it's important to do what I did in the beginning. Breathing centers us. Meditation centers us. Prayer centers, whatever it is that you have to do, whatever you're subscribed to that you have to do to be able to center yourself. Why? Because when we're centered and we embrace our best self, then we make great decisions, or decisions that are productive. If you look back over your life when your emotions were heightened, or you felt as if you were rushed or backed into a corner, think about the decisions you make then versus the decisions you make in a calm space. So that's why it is important that we have safe spaces so we can get to there. Let's talk about transformative conversations. Why are transformative conversations important? I'm so glad that you asked me that. It is the introduction to your best self. Sometimes transformative conversations require you to go back to your childhood. And when you go back to your childhood, you realize, I am holding back that creative side of me. I left that creative side in me. Number two, it also will allow you to create without self-limiting belief systems, because you don't just embrace a portion of you, you embrace the entirety of who you are. So that's why I wanted to share with everybody the importance of a safe space and having those transformative conversations. The last thing I will leave with you is, growing up, one of my favorite cartoons was Transformers. The theme song of Transformers, I don't know all the words to it, but the first 6 words say, Transformers, more than meets the eye. That's why these conversations are important, because there is a more than meets the eye locked within you.
I love it.
Brilliant. Nicely said.
So I definitely feel good about approving your application. That was great.
Thank you.
I can only imagine what you do the whole hour. So, but no, I love that concept, and especially what you're saying about whatever's not working, it goes to something within that's not, that's certainly what I found every time that I have. And Doesn't mean I know what the answer is, but at least I know what the question is. There's something going on between here and here. That's why things aren't flowing, and
absolutely,
and yeah, a lot of that is figuring out that is, which of course you need to have that safe space. You're not I was actually I was watching Bar Rescue before this because my wife prudently said, during this 2 hours you're not working, you should probably take a break instead of working for 14 hours straight today. And one of the owner in the second episode we watched, he was actually a pretty nice guy, but he was just pushed to the limit. And it was constant. They're probably open 7 days a week, and he's got tax problems, and he's got debts, and the employees are fighting with each other, and there's drama. And so he's yelling at people, and he's turning into the a-hole, so to speak. And but it's because he never had that safe place to decompress. And once John Taffer and his team came in and gave him that space, he was able to calm down and reconnect with what he loved doing and what his passions were. And because he really loved cooking, and so he's able to get back in the kitchen and focus on that and enjoy it, and they're able to make some really good once that safe space could be created to calm that down.
Absolutely.
Nicely said. I love this where it's going. I understand everything you're talking about, Clifton. I understand it passionately because it has everything to do with my side of the story, my business, my services, what I do best, and that's dealing with the mindset. When something's getting stuck in between here and there, I deal with here and there. And the trouble, the issue is, how can I put this? The clients that come to me, the people that come to me, they're usually very successful. That's a part of it. They're already doing well. They have a nice zip code, nice car. Most of them are financially well off, and then some. Some of them are heiresses or millionaires. They've come to my humble place, having coffee and sitting down, explaining that they have this terrible, awful hole in them, that their lifestyle, their money, their materials, possessions, nothing has been able to help them. They're frustrated. They are stressed out to the max. They need to breathe. And when they come, I ask them, what are you doing that's stressing you out? A few of them have actually been, I would say, had heart attacks and strokes while I was coaching and training them in the beginning because they didn't get to me on time. But as time goes on, I realize, okay, they all have a common factor. They all seem to have a common denominator. They forgot what they started the business, the job they're in for. They forgot that long ago, I'm doing this for my new bride, new husband, children, family, community. I'm doing this to create a better place for my loved ones, college funds for my children, fill in the blank. The list goes on. They just forgot about that. And they got so deep into the work instead of on the job. They just stayed there and they kept doing the same thing over and over. And then all of a sudden years go by and they're stuck. It's just, they realize, you know what? I'm living the Groundhog's Day again. I'm the hamster in the wheel. Every day's the same. Nothing changes. And I'm not satisfied. And that's the whole common down. They're not satisfied. So they come to me and they say, okay, what made you notice before the health issues? What made you notice that you were not satisfied? Well, my business is starting to go. Almost all of them say something of that manner. I think I'm going to lose my job. I'm not making as much money as I did. Or I get this horrible glass ceiling. I can't get punched through, get around. And I can't seem to get ahead anymore. I seem to be going back and I'm working harder, longer. And I want to stop that. But I'm afraid if I stop, I'm quoting my clients literally. If I stop, one, I'll be guilty. Because I've been doing this so long, I can't imagine stopping, slowing down even is causing me stress. And two, I don't know what to do if I even took a day off. That's the saddest commentary I get from them. So it's a mindset. They're stuck somewhere up here. Nothing wrong with their skill sets. They don't come to me with skill sets. I can send them to somebody else if they want skill sets. That's not their problem. Their problem is where Clifton said it best. here and something about here. So I deal with changing, modifying, upgrading, updating their mindset. So they may start, okay, workaholics. And then I asked them, if you could have anything in the world and your job was taking care of itself, what would it be? I would like to be with my family. I would like to go take vacations, be with my children. Some of them are, having relationship problems and I don't even talk to their children. I would like to do my hobbies. I have great hobbies I love to do and I don't get a chance to. I want to go back to church. I love church and I have been away from it so long, I feel lost. And relationships, social, network, all these things, part of your life grid, has nothing to do with the business. Business is just one part, but they just focused on that one part. Everything else suffered. So I said, okay, so let's get you to that one spot. One of my clients, example, paycheck to paycheck, high school degree, diploma, no college degree. And he was about to lose his job in manufacturing. In the process of him getting ready to lose his job, his heater broke down in his house in this January. He had to take a loan from his boss, which he didn't know how he's going to pay back to fix it. And the story gets worse. He says marital problems, relationship with his children is bad, and his family. It's just a really, really bad side. And he just finished getting off drugs and alcohol. So he came to us and he said, I would like to live like the people I admire, but I don't see that possible. It's like you guys are gods. That's the exact words. I said, no, it's just a focus. So we worked with him, got him to focus. But before we did that, we asked him, what would you want to do first? This is the trick. This is the formula we use for all of them. What kind of lifestyle would you want to do? He's a simple man. He said, if I could play golf 2 or 3 times a week, I'd be very happy. I mean, that's it. Nothing more. Just and maybe find Mrs. Right, but I don't believe she exists. So I'm going to die a bachelor. So I'm like, okay. So if we can get you to play golf, maybe Mrs. Right will show up, maybe. I was like, well, I don't believe that, but yeah, okay. So now we take a lifestyle and we wrap the business around him. Now he's an employee. So we had to train him how to take care of himself. Never did sales before. He learned sales. He went on his own. So he's an outside sales rep. He's doing it all by himself. He's self-employed for the first time. He didn't think that was possible. And then when he got really good at being self-employed sales rep, he started getting the attentions of all the companies that he was selling to. And he wanted to go back to work for a company. He didn't want to be, entrepreneur. But he first got the confidence, learned the trait, learned the style. Oh, by the way, he was playing at least golf twice a week doing this. So then by the time the end of the story goes, he gets hired. Now he sought after all around the Northeast, from South Carolina all the way up to Maine. And he works in a company he's a facility manager. His position requires a minimum of a degree and a half, and he doesn't have a degree. He also is playing golf 3 to 4 times a week. He's making 6 figures on the average. He never passed 65. So, most important thing, I almost forgot. He's now engaged. And he found her about 4 months back, and this is the one for him for the rest of his life. And they had met about 20 years back in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And now they're in North Carolina, South Carolina. So that's just one example, one of my clients who went from really all problem child and paycheck to paycheck, never thought he could take care of himself, become an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, so to speak, freelance sales rep, and then make the 6 figures and have the responsibilities, and it doesn't bother him. And he gets to play golf 3 to 4 times a week. We took his lifestyle and we designed a business around the lifestyle, even though it didn't exist right away. And it was hard for him the mindset was the biggest thing for him, because he's like, how is this possible? Don't worry about being possible. Mm-hmm. Worry about we call it reverse engineer. Look all the way to where it is that you want to be, the future. Picture yourself, smell it, taste it, absorb it, pretend you're there, because there's a thing in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that teaches this. The science says the mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. It doesn't. So if you pretend you're somewhere else and you do it often and think of it often, quantum physics, as the science is known, has to make it so. It's just part of the laws of nature. It has to create it for you because it doesn't think it's you're imagining it. It believes you're there, so it has to catch up with you. It's like the universe is just designed to be your big genie. And then when you focus on it, in a certain, we teach them exercise to do this, at some point, just like the breathing, they get into their moments of now. Their health improves almost immediately. They're more relaxed. They're more creative. They're more open to opportunities. And then, like magic, it looks like opportunities are coming out of all over places. And they say, this is like magic. There's no, you were not focused on the opportunities. They're all around you. You just focus on one thing, the job. Now they're focused on potentiality. And that's how we get from, well, our clients come to us with a big hole. Maybe he was the only one that was financially suffering. Most of them already are financially well off, but they're having now health problems or they're having relationship problems. I know one lady, she came to us. She has a real estate. She's a millionaires. I mean, this empire she created by herself in real estate. And the money's going down. The empire is starting to crumble. She's having problems focusing. I don't know what it is. She said, I feel terrible. I feel not satisfied. Yeah. So after just 5 minutes talking to her, I realized what her issue was. She was a church-going woman before she became this big mogul, before she got this into real estate and became this big businesswoman. And she was doing a lot of community work through her church. So I told her, why don't you go back to church? Can't you do your business? Don't you have other people running your business? Why don't you get them, delegate, not abdicate, but delegate the work to people around you. Go back to church and do what you did before, which gave you peace. End story. She goes back to church, sure enough, and everything starts going back to normal. So and as it says Jeannie, we're only focused on your lifestyle, your life grid, your dream. The reason we go back to like the very beginning, you took the job or created the business, and we make you focus on the reason why you took the job or created that business. And then we make you live it now, not wait for it later. Mm-hmm. And the strange mechanics about it, the way the laws work, the job then becomes part of, instead of being it. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's how
yeah. And I totally experienced what you're saying. One of my favorite exercises is called 7 Levels Deep, and it's so simple. They made a simple website called 7levelsdeep.com, and all it does is first asks you, what do you want to do? And then when you type something in there, it then says, why is that important to you? 6 times until you get to the bottom of it. And I did this exercise with a coach, coaching me, and I started with, I need more prospects. Because if I had more prospects, why is that important? Well, because I get more sales. And why is that important? I get more money. I get all the way to the bottom, and I get to, then I could spend more time with my family, more time with my daughter, more time with my wife. And it suddenly hits me, I don't need prospects to spend more time with my wife and daughter.
Right, exactly.
I mean, maybe I need money. I need to free that time up, but I don't need prospects. And so I short-circuited that and realized that instead of pounding the pavement looking for prospects to build my business, because my business, I started my business in July. Everything I'm doing now, I've been coaching for 25 years, but I started it as a business in July. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of like casting around, oh my God, I got to find clients. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then I realized I could go out and do DoorDash and Uber to just put money in my wallet, spend time with my family, take off the pressure, and then run Conference 21 and get out and talk. And the opportunity, someone will give me money for something at some point. But instead of going around and be like, hey, you want to pay me? 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 Just relax, do what I need to do. And the more I do that, the more, I finally got my full vaccine on Friday, so I was able to start Ubering again this week, which was great. I think Uber's fun. Like a different person gets in my car every 15 minutes, and I get to have a conversation with them and learn about their life. It's great.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And so the more I'm doing that and thus decompressing and not worrying about business, the more opportunities are presenting. Like speaking opportunities are coming, and other things. People are reaching out to me. Hey, you want to be involved in this, and you want to do that, and just more and more things are coming. The less I look for them, because I focus on the bottom of the 7 levels deep of what I really want, and it's still, a lot of my time is still being consumed. But it's but still kind of focus on that and take that. And sometimes, just like on Sundays, my daughter and I will go to church now that that's going again. And there's a playground near the church, and she wants to go to the playground. I used to be like, okay, we'll go for an hour, but I've got to go because I got to work. I got to do something. And I realized, so what happens if I get home in 2 instead of noon? Nothing. Mm-hmm. Like maybe I make $50 less. We'll live. I can work 2 hours later, whatever. I can adapt it. But so instead we spend like the whole morning and early into the afternoon, and because I'm focused on, okay, what is really important. And I think some of it's also my, because my background is financially challenged. So I'm always like, oh my God, if I don't work, I'm gonna be evicted. I'm gonna be broke. And once I realized, okay, that's settled. So when I hear about those millionaires, like, what are you even worried about? You have more money than I can imagine. How can you even have problems? But
they have many problems. That's the issue. It's not money. They tell me, people go, well, money's not everything. I said, no, it's not everything, but where it's needed, it's an absolute. There's no replacement for it. But so is your health. And some of these millionaires, I mean, I have a friend who committed, I'm sorry for the bad news, but he committed suicide off Mary Parkway one day, and he had money. He was the pillar of his community. He had a new fiance who sings opera. Wonderful voice that woman has. He was bringing commerce back into his town in upper northern Connecticut. He had everything going for himself. Obviously not, because he was unfulfilled to such a degree. The pain was too much. He thought it was just easier to stop the pain by just ending his life. So, and that's where, if it's money issues, people that used to come to us, my wife and I used to start with startups. So we understand that. Now we work with already successful entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or corporate. But when the startups, the biggest mindset they have is that I need the money now. I need the money now. I need the money now. What you just said was a secret. I said, what if you can have your lifestyle and still get the money now? And they didn't understand that. I said, well, a few years back, my partner embezzled my wife and I, and we lost millions. So basically, they put us in the poorhouse. And for a short period of time, I had to take care of the business. I had to make sure that business survived, because it was to take care of us. It helped us get to where we were. Now we got to we have a new baby again. We have to take care of this. So what did I do? I did exactly what I tell my clients to do. I said, if you have a child, what would you do for that child? Anything. Would you whore yourself out? No pun intended. Would you, whatever it takes, would you beyond not stealing or anything, but legally, but would you do whatever it takes and be uncomfortable, whatever it takes, to feed that child, make sure that child's safe, make sure that child has clothing, a roof over their head? The answer is always, of course, I would die for that child. I said, that's the attitude you have to have. But now the child is a business. And the great part about this business, it doesn't take 18 years for it to grow up. In 2-3 years, take care of you for life if you do it right. So this is your child. So what do you need to take care of this child? So right now, my child was financially hemorrhaging due to the embezzlement. So I went and took a job. Uber is great. I wish they had Uber back then. I didn't have such a fortunate job. I had a job that required cleaning stuff in a nursing home that I'm not going to mention. It's the most foulest stuff that you can imagine cleaning up. But I did it without regret. I didn't do it with judgment. I did it whistling, happy. Everybody thought I was crazy, except people watching me. People hired me. And all of them wanted to give me a director's position in that nursing home. I didn't go in there. I went there to clean. I didn't go in there to get a department head position, but they saw it. They saw the attitude, the mindset. I'm only here. This is temporary. I'm here on a mission to take care of my child, make sure my wife is okay, so she can stay 24/7 at home, getting the business back where it was. I'll take care of the minor stuff like the food, the gas, things that to help us survive, because it's temporary. I always have my mind in the future, and sure enough, after it's over, I didn't have to go back ever. And I'm not, and I've learned from the position of being positioned, by the debacle, that will never happen again. I now teach others how to avoid your partners taking advantage of you. So it's made me more worthy of talking to my clients. I'm not a hypocrite, because when people say, well, you don't understand, Angelus, I can't pay the bill. I said, well, then take a temporary job until you can get your stuff together. And he goes, well, I don't, that's like giving up. That's like quitting. I'm like that's an ego. That's a mindset. Not here. And then I tell them, well, this is what I used to do between when I had to feed myself to survive, so my business get to the next level. And they're like, really? And funny thing, they went, closed down temporarily their offices, took a job selling furniture. Then a year later came back stronger than ever. So it's a means to an end. It's not a giving up. It's not like you panicked and you failed. That's another mindset, and we have to get them through that. Some people need to go back to a job, and when they just taste it, being a freelancer or being a solopreneur entrepreneur. Others, they just need to go back temporarily so they can get back, relax. The stress of the immediate needs of paying the bills and eating is taken care of, and then the mind can focus. Because that's what I did when I was taking my breaks at the job. When I was taking my lunch, I was writing notes on, then I get out, who am I going to market? How am I going to brand? I'm focused on my business, on my moments off. And then I sat down with the directors, all the department heads, but everybody sat, on other tables afraid to sit with the boss. And I was learning from them. It's kind of a coincidence that they wanted to give me a job position. So do you understand? Does you have something similar like that happen to you, Clifton?
Oh, absolutely. I was just listening to you talk, and I was thinking about, I spoke to two groups of high school students today. And one of the things that I was telling them that I want them to master at a young age is understanding the difference between success and fulfillment. I said, because you'll spend your entire life being successful yet unfulfilled, and people will label you as being ungrateful. But the reality is that you have done all of these successful things disconnected from you. It's like you're outside, you're having an out of body experience, experiencing these successful things. So you're looking at it the same way they're looking at it, not even realizing, well, wait a minute. It's me that's being successful in it. So getting back to the root of that, I always talk about getting back to the core or the essence or the root of who we are, like our creation, the epitome of who we are, getting back to there to understand why exactly we were created, why exactly we do the things we do, why we like the things we like. And then another thing I told them as well is that we look at our cell phones, we look at our computers. Every now and then, the companies release some updates to those computers, some updates to those cell phones. We never give our bodies time to update. That's why I believe the breathing is important. The relaxing is important. The exercise is important. The doing the things that aren't related to your business are important, because it allows you to upgrade. And when you begin to upgrade your own system, you'll begin to understand that inward intelligence that you have that can help you through some of the processes. I tell people all the time, I'm a person that talks to myself. I know a lot of people say, oh, that's crazy. Nope, I don't even look at it as crazy, because I believe that we have the intelligence to answer our own questions. But the problem is that when we answer them, we judge ourselves. I tell people it's important to develop a relationship with who you really are, the core of who you are, the essence of who you are. Why? Because when you develop a relationship with the essence of who you are, you can ask yourself a question and yourself will answer you. The problem is that when our self answers us, instead of hurry up writing it down, what we do is keep it up here, start to process it based upon those self-limiting belief systems. So now we're processing it, fighting against it, and we think this couldn't possibly make sense. Well, of course it doesn't make sense to you in the state or the viewpoint or vantage point that you're looking from it. That's why you have to do this thing without judgment. As soon as it comes to you, write it down. Begin to write that thing down and then look at it, not as if you are telling yourself it from the mindset that you have. Look at it as how you measure the intelligence of other people. And I think sometimes we're taught that. I come from the education field. Sometimes as teachers or educators, we've done some kids a disservice because we haven't been able to recognize the intelligence in other people because we're only taught one way to measure intelligence.
Yeah.
So when you're only taught one way to measure intelligence, you begin to look at this one person or group of people as intelligent, and now you start to sleep on yourself. Right. Or you start to discredit yourself. But when you get back to the focusing on yourself and building the relationship with yourself, you begin to build up that confidence in your intelligence again.
That's so true, because that's funny you said that, because I'm trying to remember who said Bill Bartman. When my wife and I met him was just shortly after the debacle we got after our marriage. We went to California. This guy was, at the time, he's passed away now, the 25th richest man in America, Bill Bartman. He created the dunning industry, revolutionized it. But when talking to him, he was a down-to-earth kind of guy. I mean, if you see him in a bar, you wouldn't know he was a billionaire, self-made. Shows you his tattoos, and he likes to wear white T-shirts, and not all of them are in best conditions. But I asked him, what is your secret sauce? What is their formula that gave you this kind of wealth? And he said, well, Mr. Perez, one thing is, I want to make very clear, I wasn't trying to be a billionaire. It just happened. Yeah. I was focused on my mission, my goal, and the money just happened. That's very, very important. I teach all my clients that. Don't worry about how the money's going to get to you. Worry about your mission. His lifestyle was his mission. Mm-hmm. So then he said something which was more, was an epiphany and a half for me. He said also, because he said, I was homeless once. And he said, I remember eating macaroni and cheese for a year. I was so poor. And now, he brings his whole company of a couple of thousand to Walt Disney World, charter all the planes to take them on vacation. It's amazing. He said, your self-worth, your self-esteem, build it to as high as you can, because whatever money you make, it will never exceed your self-esteem level. If your self-esteem level is here, your money will never go to here. It would always stop to there or less. So if your self-esteem is here, your potential to make wealth will also be there. So self-esteem is everything. Tell people, spread the news, he said. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't trust in yourself, if you don't have this love for thyself and respect for thyself, you can't be successful. It's just in the university laws and in the way neuroscience works, it's counterproductive. It won't mix. I mean, I don't understand why people, when I talked to them about that, I said, well, you don't understand. After I said it, we have to work on your self-esteem level, because that has nothing to do. I got to pay my bills. And we really got to work on your self-esteem levels. So it's all about, and I don't know if you guys know this, stop me if you heard this, but we also work with the fact that I have come from a background of science. I have a lot of friends that are still in the industry. Some of them are neuroscientists, researchers. And the things that we have, when we're having a bourbon or two over dinner, the conversations we have are really, really like deep stuff. The average person don't want to hear it because it's very boring. But I take what numbers they're throwing at me in the pure science, and I apply it to business. And they told me a while back that Angelus, did you know that there's 40,000 brain cells, neurons in your heart? And I'm like, in the physical heart? Yes. Yeah, I heard about that. I wasn't sure if that was true or not. He goes, yo, that's absolutely true. And you can Google this. There's many parts of the brain, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever you want to call it. But the truth of the matter is, they told me the brain is just the body. And the brain is separated into sections to function. One is a processing center. One is emotional center. One is storage for memory center. One is this. I'm like, that's amazing. That's amazing. He said, the brain itself is made up in different parts as well. But here's the thing. If you're using only one piece of your brain all the time, just like if you use one arm all the time, one leg, the other arm atrophies. And the other arm has to work overtime to make up for the atrophy. So they're both suffering. The whole body suffers. They told me that the brain works the same way. So when this is how I created my program. The epiphany came to me like, so it's like your lifestyle. If you focus, the same part of your brain that you do your hobby is not the same part that you do your social life. They go, no. And it's not the same part that you do your business. No. It's not the same part that you do spiritual or your religion or your politics or this or that. Goes, no, just in your finances. No. It's a different brain for that, for each job. I said, so if a person is just focusing on one part of the brain, goes, yes, we've scanned brains that people are only focusing on one thing, and you notice other parts of the brain showing shrinkage. Don't use, you lose. And I thought that was amazing. So I said, so if a person can balance their life, and business being one of it, their brain should be, and before I finish the sentence, I said, should be a perfectly balanced, beautiful, large brain. And I'm like, that it's working through the heart, to the spleen, to the stomach. To the Chinese knew about this. We're only catching up with it. And I'm like, I'm going to use that for my business. I can use the science of that. So then when I tell people, you want to be a smart person? Because, yeah, stop working today and just go play with your kid. You want to be a smart person today? Go do your hobby. Absolutely. I have one of my clients, his hobby is making beer. And when he makes beer, he makes more money. So the prerequisite now, if he doesn't make beer every week, he's in his mind, and it's a good mindset, he's going to lose money. So he's got to make beer. It's amazing. It's amazing how when I'm listening to Clifton talking, I can see that he's attempting to use all parts of his totality to express and manifest the message that we are all great. Yep. We are all fantastic. We are all substantial. We are special. And more important, Clifton is made clear is we're all complete, whole, and perfect. The only difference is we know it, others doubt it. Yep. What do you think about that, Mike?
I love it. And what you're saying about using different parts of the brain, I got to the point this afternoon where we're just really dumb things were making me really upset. And yeah, so in order to get to my karate class, I got to pick my daughter up at just the right time, and she always comes out late. But I got to bring the tablet to keep her busy at the karate, and I forgot the tablet. And I'm in the car, and I'm like yelling and punching the steering wheel. I'm like, I'm not going to go to karate today. I'm just going to pick her up. We're going to go home because obviously, if I'm this this bothered right now, I think I probably need a break. And so my thought was, I'm going to go home and work on. I need to do more Conference 21 promotion and whatnot. And my wife said, why don't we just sit down on the couch and just watch John Tapper yell at some people. So I grabbed McDonald's, sat on the couch, had a beer, relaxed, and yeah, it's totally true because you get so wrapped up in like I gotta work, yep. and your effectiveness goes,
absolutely, because
if you work for 30 minutes, that 30 minutes is going to be gold. You work for 30 hours, after 4 hours, you're producing garbage. Or nothing, or you're just clicking around, be like, oh, let me check the email and check the Facebook, and then check the email again and check the Facebook again, because like there's something, but you just don't know what it is anymore, and you lose your focus.
It's funny, Mike. That's so true, because when I do an assessment of all my clients about how many minutes they spend on their business a day, the scary thing is that the ones who spend about 8 to 12 hours a day at work, they're actually doing just over 4.5 hours of real work,
Mm-hmm.
real productive, efficient
I believe
work.
that.
And they're wasting all that other time. And I literally, I follow them. Some of the times I go into their business and I'm shadowing them and I'm just taking notes and I'm going, wow, that's like, how long are you going to stand there, like looking at them? Like you're going to you're going to shame your crew to do their work harder by being a taskmaster and being, behind their backs and, being a perfectionist and so that, I'm just adding all these things. Then I have a session with them. It's like, this is unproductive. This is not what managers do. This is unproductive. This is not what directors do. By the way, you own the company. Why are you doing the work? It's like, and then they go, well, you're trying to say I only work about 4 or 5 hours? No, less than 5 hours. That's your job. That's all you do. And when they realize that, they're going, I'm wasting my life. Mm-hmm. So that's how we get to them. It's like, let's find out exactly how much time it takes you to do each section. It's not your business, but each section. How much time does it take you to really take care of your children, your wife, your husband, your family, your friend? How quality time, not just doing the work, but quality time that you're getting rewards from that. You're getting fulfillment out of it. I guarantee you, it's never as much as the time you actually put into it while you're complaining about it. It's
absolutely
amazing. So absolutely. I'm not judging what Mike said. I mean, we've all been there, but I have occasionally I've done it myself. I have to stop myself going, wait a minute, this is unnecessary. I did it today. I went out in the middle of the afternoon, which I normally am working, to do something for my mother. And my wife said, wait a minute, why are you going now? Why can't you go later? I was like, why not now? They're like, well, you got things to do. I said, I can do them later. It's like, I still got a lot of hours left before I go to bed, and I'll still have enough time to finish it before I go on my conference call, Conference21. So we think too much about one thing and we don't focus on everything and give everything. Let me make this last point so people understand. It's like if you spend so much time in one spot, you're really messing it up. You're stinking up the works. Okay. And no matter what you do, wherever you go, that stink is going to follow you. If you go walk across the room, your stink is still with you. So it's better to not stink up the works, do what you need minimal, and then go do something else on the other aspects of your life. Because a balanced life is just what Clifton's saying. It's the same as a balance. This is balanced body, mind, soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's a microcosm. Yep. Your extension of that microcosm is your lifestyle, which business is one small piece. We need to follow what Clifton's been saying. Yes?
Clifton, what do you think?
I totally agree. I just want to share one last thing as we're talking about balance. I played baseball as a child on up through high school. And when the first year I played, I absolutely was terrible. Like I wouldn't even have put myself on the team, but that's not the story I'm telling today. The story I'm telling is around 10th grade, I think it was, I started falling out of love with baseball. I was going through a lot of different things, and I pitched, and I was either number 1 or 2 in the rotation every year. Like that's how it was. And I remember I got to my 10th grade year, but for some reason, my pitching was falling off. Now, I quit. My coach came to the house, convinced me to come back. I quit because I was so focused on pitching, I didn't realize I was leading the team in hitting. That's the same concept that we have sometimes as it relates to not focusing on balancing things out. If we can focus on the whole picture, then we begin to use those different parts of our brains. But yeah, I was ready to walk away and not even realizing, like, wait a minute, my hitting has really improved, but I was just so in love with pitching. Some of you are just so in love with the concept of the business, with the execution of the business, that you're losing sight of everything else. And if we can see the other things that are going on, we can begin to see the success in other areas, and then that'll help balance everything out. So I've been there.
And The big epiphany I had around December, January, because I probably need to work with more coaches on this, but I have some kind of mental block about making money. I've never made a lot of money. I've made money for people around me. I've created, I think I estimate about $350,000 of value by making introductions. I have no idea how much I've made for the Conference 21 speakers, but it's in the 5 or 6 figures from the first event, from what little has been reported, not to mention whatever hasn't been told to me. So I make money around me all the time, but I don't bring it to me. And I had this epiphany. I said, if I have to support myself driving DoorDash or Uber or whatever, but I get to coach people and I get to have that moment, the what I call the wow moment, which is where you ask someone a question, they go, wow. They don't have words to explain what they're discovering, and I can bring people that, and I never get paid for it. And for the rest of my life, I'm driving Uber to pay my bills, and I'm coaching people for free and speaking for free. I think that'd be a win. And once I pivoted that, because I'm surrounded by these business coaches who are like, you got to make money, focus on the bottom line, don't give it away free, value yourself. But value isn't always money. So okay, I suck at making money, so I'll make money. I'm good at driving. So make money driving, help people. I have done good for the world. I don't starve. I get to keep this very nice house, and that's a win. And I figure if I do it long enough, money will come eventually. But I could worry about money and not have it, or I could not worry about money and still not have it. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's a question of how I'm gonna, having the gratitude for I get to help people. I get to, do the weekly round table twice a week, which is, I love hanging out with you guys, and get to do all these great things. And then I found some ways to make money separate from that are still good. And, the business is 10 months old. So what do you expect? That's I think people can tell me, your business is 10 months old, dude. Takes longer than that to start bringing in the bucks. So, but you're realizing what you're saying, at first I was just like you, Clifton, with the I'm pitching and it's not, money's not coming. I must suck at this. And then realize, no, I'm great at it. I'm just stuck at selling it, which is a totally different thing.
Our lives are mosaic, and I tell people, try to concentrate on all pieces of the puzzle. If you only concentrating on one puzzle piece, you're not going to see the picture. Nope. And the truth of the matter is, if you can concentrate equally as best as possible on all the puzzles, the money comes naturally. Yeah. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling this from. I've lived it. I understand that. And it's very counterintuitive because you're trained to believe you got to take action to make money to pay the bills. And I'm saying, yes, I agree with you, but which action? That's the trick. Which action?
Which action?
Not necessarily that which is making the money right away. The action made to make money. I made money. I got job offers by shoveling stuff. Okay. Looking for it. But I had the attitude is this is temporary and I'm building back to where I was. And people saw that. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know why I was there or was temporary. But the money is got to be a part of your life, not the part of the life.
Absolutely.
Or else it's never going to be substantial enough. And you're always going to be running after the money instead of the money running after you. And that is how the universe works. So let's teach everybody, let's get everybody to get the money to come after them. Yes. And they can then spread the word because there's enough to go out there. I say spread the wealth, share this because there's enough out there. There's no such thing as, it's a mindset out there for a lot of people that money is limited.
It is though.
And because of limited time, it's a fact of nature. No, there's so much wealth out there. You can never run out of it. It's impossible.
Yep. And plenty that can't be counted as money. If you create value, that's all money is, a placeholder. So it is after 8 o'clock. So let's wrap up with both of you sharing what you'll be talking about at Conference 21, which I suspect that either of your talks is worth $21 on its own. So we'll go in the reverse order of the introductions. Angelus, what are you going to be talking about on the 21st?
On the 21st, when you guys come and see us, and please come, you're going to get a lot out of it. I'm going to make it clear. I'm going to show some examples of what little I talked about tonight. I'm going to give some simple exercises so people can actually go and take immediate action and see the results, probably right after, minutes after the conference is over. I'm going to get into more details of what it is that is creating a negative or a poor man's mindset, and how we can break that cycle so we can start not only be rich in our pockets, but joy in our hearts, peace in our minds, and profit in our pockets. That's what I'm going to be talking about. So come and see us. I'm just one out of 47 magnificent
47.
I can't wait to that's a library that I'm going to have, and I'm going to be spending weeks afterwards just listening. So come, it's worth money. You get, if I don't know anywhere else you can go to get that much information for the price.
Yep. Yeah, and it also gets you access to the February videos as well. So
Yes.
most because I haven't figured out how to separate the libraries. So that's 28. I think it's 24 videos from February, and there's going to be 47 from May. So do the math on that, 70 something. And Clifton, Clifton, what will you be contributing to the Conference 21 library?
Before I get to that, I have to say too, there's not a conference you're going to find the value that you're going to receive for $21. 47 speakers plus access to the last conference speakers as well. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about embracing your weird, as you see on the t-shirt. I'm going to tell you where that came from, how I had to embrace my own weird, and I'm going to tell you how doing so positions you for purpose. Why? Because purpose is connected to our identity. That weirdness that you've ran for years, or you've looked at as a negative connotation for years, is connected to your identity. So you need that identity in order to connect with your purpose so that you can live that fulfilled life versus just a successful life.
Nicely said.
Awesome. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, and it's funny talking about that, the excessive value that I offer. And then I wonder why I don't have any money and have to have Uber. But because I don't know how to charge what things are worth. But that's okay. Find people who don't know what they're worth and buy stuff from them, because that's where the great values come from. So, so until I figure out what Conference 21 should be worth, get your tickets. Conference21.com, only $21. And so it's 3 days. The 21st is the networking day. So it's where you get to meet a lot of the speakers are going to be there. So you actually get to have conversations with them directly. And then Saturday and Sunday is when the speakers are speaking, and more networking and more connection and more of that. So Clifton and Angelus, it's been fantastic having you both on the show. Great. And as I keep saying, I am not the same person I was in November when I started this conference. And these conversations are a lot of that, because really this is just a whole scheme to get me free coaching sessions with amazing people. And it's totally worked.
Not fair.
You guys.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. And for those of you at home, tune back in at this, wherever you're watching this, on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for our next show, where we'll be featuring, let's see, do I have the list handy? Come on, computer. Who do I have? Where we'll have Arthur Miller, Christine Rose, and Christy Sullivan. So those will be our next speakers on Friday. Thank you very much for being on the show, and I will let you go and go be weird.
All right.
Stay weird.
Thank you.
Later, Clifton. Thanks, Michael.